Recently, since things have been going very, very bad for the Democratic Party and all of this junk and all of the money laundering and everything else you can imagine, whenever this stuff starts happening, they start throwing black female politicians out in front of our face. Like all of a sudden, I'm seeing an influx of black female politicians. And this message is for my people. You guys have to understand this is a game. This is a game. They're using these racial tensions in order to get you to not see what's actually right in front of your face. So that when these black female politicians with their power and their voice and my head is bald and I'm strong, I'm a strong black woman. When you start seeing that, understand they're trying to take your attention away from the actual truth, what's actually going on. They want you to play into the race baiting. They want you to think that the Republican or Trump administration that is coming after the terrible things that have been going on for many, many years, that it has nothing to do with our money, but it has everything to do with race, because he's racist, remember? So when you see him going after and exposing this BS that's been going on, and then you start seeing these black faces, they're trying to make you think that he's attacking them as black people. He's attacking the people, that have this front runner, the face of blackness. But here's something I want you to understand. There's this politician, I forgot her name is Omar. She's the one with the head wrap. Now, she looks like she might be from Africa, South Africa maybe, or Ethiopian or something like that. That woman came into office. Her wealth was at like $65,000 a year. Do you know she's worth over $84 million now? And she was just recently voted out, thank goodness. But see, they have her in the front runner. I am here and I am strong and they can't stop me. It's an act. Don't fall for it. Stop thinking every single thing that Trump is doing is attacking black people. He's literally getting us our money back. We're literally finding out why we've been so broke and the people up top just been juggling all the money and keeping it away from. That's what's really in front of you. The people that you've been following and voted for possibly, they've been laundering your money. They've been stealing from you. And just because they throw a few black women, that's part of the boule. Just because they throw a few black women in your face does not mean you have to agree with them. They're working for them too. All skin folk, what? Ain't kinfolk.
Vibes so rockin'.
What's going on, everybody? Shout out to the sister that started this video off. She is absolutely right. There is a disturbing trend that's going on right now in this country in reference to the Democrats. If you've noticed, they've gone full-fledged pushing these black women on us because they know or they think that these women, they have the superpower or the force field to keep us off their heads, but it don't. They think that they can use them to push their agenda, and if you refute it or say anything about it, they're going to call you racist, misogynist. They're going to talk about you because, hey, it's coming from a black woman. You can't say anything about them. But we're going to talk about it, man. What's going on, everybody? I hope all is well. And we got to get into it, man. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, representing the Dallas, Texas area, has been making the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And I got to say this, Dallas, y'all got to take an L for this one, man. Y'all put this lady in office. Y'all got to take this L. I mean, she's been making the rounds on TV, delivering some of the most absurd, nonsensical, and let's just keep it real, downright reckless statements that we've heard in quite some time. And this morning, she did it again. She took things to another level in an appearance on The Breakfast Club where she openly expressed how much she's pulling for other nations. She is actually rooting against the United States of America. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. We're going to dissect what she said. And we're going to talk about why it matters. But before we do, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload. Make sure you click that all button so you are aware of every video that drops. I appreciate the love and support, man. Let's get into it.
I said that 18 months after he got sworn in, I felt like, the economy was just going to be in the toilet. And I felt like that's what they were going to do. Like they were going to do either the tax credits or the stimulus checks just to pacify all of the people that's going to be out in the street complaining. I mean, you got 12,000 federal workers already fired, and it hasn't even been a month?
No, I mean, what's today? The 19th? He's sworn January 20th. So, yeah, we are, and what I need people to understand is that $5,000, even if you get it, is not going very far because we are headed to a recession.
That's
That
right.
is the bottom line. People talked about how terrible the economy was, and that was more so like things were expensive, but people were absolutely able to still enjoy all these plane rides because every time I caught a flight, it was absolutely packed, right? And so, yes, it was expensive, but you could pay for it. You're going to end up in a situation where you're not going to be able to afford the food. Right now, you're getting rid of the people that labor in the fields, right? Because here's the reality. When you look back at the history of this country, they have always relied on some person of color to labor. That is why they needed slave labor, right? Like we were the ones that they took onto the plantations to work the fields. And so we know that we have so many immigrants that come into this country and their only thing that they're looking for is a way to survive. And so they will work for the pennies that is paid to actually work the farms, and that keeps the cost of our food down. But when they send their money home, it goes a long way. And so their family is able to live a better life than they would have been able to live if they were still there, where they didn't have the job opportunities, right? But these are also the people that are building our houses. As you're complaining about the cost of homes, now we have another input cost that's about to go up because, listen, these people aren't showing up. I just talked to contractors down in Atlanta, Georgia. They talked about the fact that their workers are not showing up to work because they are concerned about whether or not they are going to come and try to take them away. And this is even if you are a citizen, because ICE is so ignorant. They rounding up everybody. They rounding up Puerto Ricans. They are Americans, right? They are rounding up Native Americans. They are the most American that you can find, right? Like they are rounding up everybody. So people of color are like, yo, I am not even going to work, right? So now you're talking about costs going up, but you're
So this lady, out of her own mouth, now I know she has a law degree from somewhere, but she is not the brightest star in the sky. She is not the sharpest knife in the daggone drawer. She's not. So this lady makes an argument for slavery. Think about this now. Now I get it. We understand that Democrats, they are the party of slavery. They are, and they've always been. We get it. But she is on a national platform saying that this country has always enjoyed free labor and cheap labor. This country has enjoyed it. We have an administration saying we don't want it. We want these people out of here. We want to give citizens those jobs. She's saying, no, we don't want it. These people are willing to work for pennies. And then she on the backside says that, oh yeah, because they're going to send their money back home. So they're going to come here and work. Their money is not going to circulate here in America because they plan on sending it back home. And they know that this is happening and they're allowing it and they're okay with it. This is not an intelligent individual. This is someone that's bought and paid for. This is someone who is compromised, and this is someone who is willing to go with whatever the party and whoever it is that paid for her campaign and supported her in that way. Whatever they tell her to say and do, that's what she'll say and do. These are the same people also asking for reparations. This lady, she was asking for reparations for chattel slavery, but now you are championing slavery and free labor and cheap labor in the name of quote unquote keeping prices down. You can't make this stuff up, man. This is not a smart person.
also talking about less people working. The United States is the 15th largest employer in the entire world, right? So now they're like, oh yeah, all those people we're firing, they can just go to private industry. The jobs don't exist. And private industry is signaling that they know that the recession is coming. Southwest has never done a layoff like what they did in the entire existence of Southwest, and they just cut 15% of their workforce. So we're seeing where private industry is starting to collapse and starting to actually reduce their workforce instead of increase it.
She was looking for the word retract. but private sector has been retracting for years now. The layoff started in 2021. What is she talking about? But I would assume maybe she knows it, maybe she doesn't know it. But I know a whole heck of a lot of people that were laid off from their job 2021, 2022, still looking for opportunities. What we also know is that in the midst of those layoffs, the government decided that, hey, to pick up some of the slack, we'll just hire a bunch of people, which has us in the situation that we're in right now. The government is bloated. There's too many employees. There's not enough work to go around. Now, this is the first that I'm hearing about Southwest laying off 15% of its workforce. I'm gonna have to go do some research on that. But we've been in somewhat of a recession. The only problem is that people like her and other Democrats, they changed the definition of what a recession is. They did that. Now, all of a sudden, they want to talk recession. That's why you can't take these people serious, man. Her credibility is shot. And unfortunately, if you read the comment section, and we're going to get into this comment section in this video because I want you to see how stupid a large amount of Americans are.
So where are these people going to go? And people don't realize how many organizations, private or otherwise, rely on federal dollars in some way. And now you're saying we're going to take those federal dollars out, but we're not putting them back into people's pockets. We're putting them into the pockets of my friends. So now Elon is going to get more money. Now I'm going to figure out how to serve myself, because he also told his Department of Justice, do not enforce the marijuana laws, right, on the books. Do not enforce the fact that there's this disparity between crack and cocaine on the federal level, but do not enforce foreign influence laws. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I had nobody from the hood.
She thinks she's saying something. That situation, that issue came from her party. The previous president implemented that. As a senator, Bill Clinton signed it into law. These are Democrat policies. I mean, she is not the smartest person. She is not the smartest person, man. On top of that, do you honestly think that we care about the marijuana laws when you got a plethora of states out here now that have legalized marijuana? The federal government isn't going after people for marijuana like that these days, unless it's interstate trafficking. I mean, right now, you got 10 or 15 states right now that marijuana is legal for recreational, maybe more. And even more states are illegal for medical purposes. But my thing is the fact that that's your concern, that you want people to continue doing drugs, is just flat out ridiculous. Continue doing drugs and selling drugs. We should be running away from that. We should be going the opposite direction. But again, these people are on the wrong side of every issue.
Get caught up because they were engaged in some kind of foreign influence.
That's a fact.
I mean, so who is it that typically gets caught up? It's people with access. And so now basically he's signaling to all of these people that have tried to corrupt our government, come on through, drop off a bag. In fact, y'all just had a senator nearby that just went down. They just gave Menendez 11 years for the exact thing that he's telling his Department of Justice, do not enforce this. That's where we are.
How do you feel about that? Because,
This lady, man.
it seems like if you're cool with Trump, you get a...
So Menendez needed to be locked up. He got convicted of 16 charges. I guess that's not okay because he's a Democrat. But on the flip side of that, the previous president, I mean, we know what he was doing all throughout, his time in Congress, and at least from what we know about in reference to his time as vice president, peddling influence, so forth and so on. There was just a swat of daggone, what do you call them? Pardons to keep people like them from going to jail. So it's obviously not a big deal to anybody. Like, come on, man.
pardon. If you're cool with Trump, he'll tell you don't prosecute him. Recently, we've seen Eric Adams not being prosecuted. What's your thoughts on
If
that?
you're cool with Trump, you get paid.
Listen, my thought is that I'm still black in America and I ain't finna play no kind of games.
Word.
So I am gonna walk the straight and narrow for a number of reasons. Number one, I have some morals about myself. And number two, I know that they would love an opportunity to lock me up, right? Like I would be the exception to the rule. But you're absolutely right. I mean, Canada has really been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised. You elected somebody who was actually convicted by a jury of his peers of 34 felony convictions. Again, if it was me, there's no way. I mean, right now, I ain't got no convictions, no arrests, no nothing. And I would never be qualified for president in this country in the eyes of the vast majority of them. But a guy who literally not only ended up becoming a convicted felon, but also had other cases that were pending in other jurisdictions, oh yeah, he's good to go.
You just said something that
Ma'am, you wouldn't be qualified for president because you're not smart. You're not qualified for president because on a salary of $175,000 without creating a business of some sort, unless you got speaking engagements that's paying you, $400,000 or $500,000 an event, how are you worth $9 to $10 million? How? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I've been thinking about, why do people still talk like Donald Trump is campaigning as opposed to like he's actually here right now in the flesh doing what it is that he's doing? Like they still talk like, they talk like they can stop this. Like I saw the governor of Illinois, JB, what's his name?
Pritzker.
Yes, he was talking, but I'm like, yo, that should have been said 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The things that he was saying. It's like, like why are they talking like he's still campaigning?
I'm going to say this. I think that there's two things. I think that, again, Democrats are so cerebral that we were like, of course nobody's going to vote for him again. They'll remember the dead bodies that were piling up in freezer trucks in New York. They'll remember that he was telling people to inject bleach. They'll remember that, they were losing their jobs. They did not know if their family members were going to live or die. They will remember. We thought people would remember. And then we started to realize way too late that a lot of people forgot. All they remembered, it was almost like our brains would not remember the bad. All they remembered was like things like a $1,200 check. But they didn't remember how they got it, right? Like they didn't remember Pelosi. They didn't remember the Democrats were controlling the House at the time. Like they didn't remember that part of the story.
Well, that's because Democrats suck at messaging and marketing.
Well, we're still working. But I will say the other part of this, though, about Pritzker is that I think what we're trying to do is at least make sure that people wake up, because there are things that we can do. I don't accept defeat. I mean, if I accepted defeat, here's the reality. I wouldn't be sitting here before you. My ancestors never accepted defeat, so I won't either. Did he win? Absolutely. Are we defeated? Absolutely not. And so now
the
House,
election, don't concede the Constitution.
Absolutely. I like that. Look at you with your alliteration. Okay, there we go. So here's the deal. We know that the House is only a 3-member difference. 3 members going to the Democratic side means that we control the House and we start slowing things down. We have 3 seats that are about to be up. We have 2 seats that are up right now. We have another one that will be up in New York. And so I'm telling people, put all your energy into these 3 seats, because I can't wait 2 years. Like, I'm tired of him already. So we need an opportunity to start stopping him. So I do want governors like Pritzker to give people this belief and this hope. And I want people to go out and say, you know what, I don't have very much money, but I think that it's worthwhile for me to give my $10 to these people that are running in Florida, to give money to whoever is going to ultimately run here in New York. I think it's worth my time to show up and actually knock on some doors and talk to people and listen to people and ask them, why did you vote for Trump? And Trump would still be your president, but don't you want this to slow down a little bit? Don't you want somebody to say, hey, wait a minute, we think that it's important that Social Security still exists, and the only thing that will stand between you and your Social Security is potentially having a Democratic House. And
all she does is lie. Oh, you're not going to talk about the how many illegals you put on Social Security who has been basically sucking the resources from us? You're not going to talk about that? They're so delusional and out of touch. They're not familiar with the American people. They don't know. They don't know what we want. They don't know what we care about. If she knew anything, she would say, J.B. Pritzker's in trouble out there in Illinois. They want his behind gone. The people up in New York, with the way things are going right now, I would almost, that representative seat, it has to flip red. It has to. I mean, boy, I tell you, man, this lady right here, she's something else, man. And you got to ask yourself, why are they parading her around like this? Why? What are they trying to set her up for? What are they testing out the audience and, in America? What are they testing us out or testing her out for? You got to ask yourself that. She said she'd never be qualified for president because of who she is and what she looks like, which, I mean, they literally, well, I guess because she's a Democrat, she might be right because they don't want to put an actual real black person in anything. You can't be full-fledged black person and run in the Democrat Party for president. They're not going to allow that to happen. But I want you guys to hear some of the comments on this video. One person says, I like her delivery. It's the same whether she's on black radio, MSNBC, or speaking to the left or right. Another person says, rich racism and broke racism is two very different things. Another person says, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, in one word, outstanding. I'm just reading the comments. Now, there's one person that says, as a veteran, I can affirm that there is a lot of waste in the DOD. Yep. There's a whole heck of a lot of waste in the Department of Defense. There's a whole heck of a lot of waste in all of these departments. That's why President Trump is doing what he's doing right now. This one person says smart people actually can see these people are habitual liars. At least we got one person calling it out. Another person comes in and says, thank you, Ms. Crockett, for your service, education, and voice. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. Another person calls her out and says, did she just say who needs $5,000, but will give non-citizens thousands of dollars a month? Why are these people still in power? Exactly. She got out there yesterday. Y'all seen the clip. What is $5,000 going to do for you? That's what she said. But then on the flip side tells you that, hey, people are hurting because they losing jobs and need money. These are double talking individuals, man. You can't trust a word that comes out of their mouth. This lady is, she pretty much got up there and told a bunch of sister girl lies. And to a lot of folks that don't really know or don't really understand or not astute or up to date on what's actually going on, this may actually sound good to them. It's unfortunate though. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, man. It just supports the channel. If you'd like to support me and what I'm doing, join the ARP family, or you can buy your man a coffee. Link in the description box below, man. I appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. God bless each and every one of you guys. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. I'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.